we will start right here in the front, in the middle. Then we'll go in the back to Zach.
Morning, Chase. Eddie Kalegi, Motorsports Today. When I spoke to you here last year, you were talking about how it's difficult with the bumps with the next-gen car, kind of trying to find the balance between downforce and trying not to upset the shocks. Is that still like a point of emphasis, and what else kind of sets Pocono apart from other tracks in the schedule?
Yeah, no, definitely still, still really important. That's a challenge every week. Really, it's something that we battle, and typically the rougher the racetrack is, the tougher that is to get perfect. Just because there's such an advantage of having the back of the car low for downforce and to get that total number to its max point. And there's also a really big risk in hitting both rear shocks, right, and kind of bottoming out those stops. So it's a tough thing to get perfect. Obviously, there's a lot of variables that go with that. The air coming up, what kind of air pressure split you have, whether you're starting on a long run or a qualifying run. So it's a challenge on a weekly basis, yes.
We'll go to Zach.
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Chase, third place at Mexico City last weekend. Obviously, that place is unique, and up there. But we're in the stretch of a lot of unique racetracks coming up here. How can you guys use that as a moment to build momentum for this 9 team as the playoffs near?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was, I thought we had a really solid day overall. I was happy with it, and I thought we had a solid weekend overall too. Didn't qualify as well as I felt like our car balance should have gotten us, I'll shoulder that for sure. But I thought that we were really in a pretty good spot, throughout the day, and for us to get from 12th or 13th or whatever to third on that last run, I thought was a good way to end it, which is always encouraging. And there's still the playoffs, I guess, are kind of nearing, but there's still a lot of racing left before that. So a lot of good tests coming up. I thought we had a really strong run here last year. I'm excited about getting rolling and seeing if we can carry some of the balance and the positive things that we had here a year ago to this weekend. That'd be great. So we're just keep chipping away. I thought we were doing some good things, and just got to do some of the things that we're doing well and add some more to it.
Go in the middle over here.
SingleStepShowbreaker.com. Chase, William and Kyle, top 2 in the points. They both led a ton of laps this year. They've won some races. You're not very far behind them. But what do you feel like you need to do to, like them, maybe lead more and also get to victory lane and snap that winless streak?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that go into that. It's a little bit of everything, truthfully. But I think probably the biggest one is qualifying. Really, I think the qualifying thing is so important and an area that I've struggled in, no doubt. And so when I look at some of the races, I look at Michigan, right? I thought Michigan was a really good example. We got ourselves up front, and when that happened, I thought we were super competitive, and it was like night and day, from running around 10th to 20th and just in a lot of traffic and starting runs and traffic, and it can really just dictate what your car drives like. So I think being up front, having a really good pit stall, keeping yourself up there, it can change the complexion of your day in such a large way nowadays that it can really be overlooked. So I think that would be the really top of mind for me as I look at what's one thing that we can do to help ourselves, and I think that's probably it.
We'll go to Dustin.
Dustin Albino, J-Ski. Chase, why was it important to add the Xfinity race to your schedule this weekend?
J-Ski still around?
We're still here.
That's awesome. What was your question?
Can I have the mic back?
Can you give him the mic back?
Thanks. Sorry. Why was it important to run the Xfinity race this weekend?
Well, I mean, you know, it's an opportunity for me to get better. You know, I don't do you know, a ton of Xfinity races or truck races or whatever. So you know, for me, it's mainly the the Cup thing. So it's an opportunity to race. You know, I only had one on my schedule this year. So you know, when they talked about adding another one, you know, I was super open to it and you know, wanted to get involved. Had a lot of fun with it at Darlington. Thought we were really competitive and you know, right in the mix. So you know, I think the car's in a really good spot. Everybody on the Xfinity side of the shop has done a really good job of getting this thing, you know, really where it needs to be. So yeah, it's been fun to be a part of that process a little bit, and you know, hopefully we can you know, keep it rolling and just have some fun and also get some reps, you know, here, you know, today and kind of get myself up to speed and you know, hopefully that'll end. I hope, I don't know that it will, but I hope that it'll help us a little bit on the Cup side and just you know, start the day off quick and get a good qualifying effort over there and help us for tomorrow.
We'll go to Dustin, Jordan, and Dan.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Chase, last week you had the unique experience of being on a podium, at least for this series. What was that like to, in essence, celebrate somebody else's success? And is that something that could work or would be something you would be more for in future races in a series?
Yeah, I'm not really for it or I'm not really against it. You know, I'm fine with it. I have no problem, you know, giving Shane his you know, congratulations and making sure that, you know, he is celebrated properly. He won the race. He deserved the right, you know, to that. You know, me being the second loser, I can certainly get in there and make sure that I can, you know, appreciate the job that he did. You know, I guess that's kind of what you're getting at. I mean, there's no doubt. Would I rather that been me? Yeah, you know, no question. It's not normal for us, you know, so I think I'm okay with it. I'm okay with doing it. I'm okay with not doing it. I want to make sure that we are if that's going to be a new thing, then totally fine. And we can start a new tradition, but that's not historically been us. So I just want to make sure our focus is being us as NASCAR, you know, and that's okay. You know, we're our own form of motorsports, and I think we can stand on our own 2 feet, and you know, we can do our own thing, and so as long as we're not doing it to be like everybody else, I'm fine. But if that's the case, then I'm also good not doing it.
I also would just ask about the season. When you look at what you've done so far, has this been a good season for you?
It's a good question. I mean, good, sure. I mean, it's not where I want to be, no doubt. I mean, I think that, you know, for us, there's been some high spots, and you know, to be honest, there's been weeks where we've, you know, run well, or you know, maybe had a good finish, or even there's been a couple weeks where we haven't necessarily had a good finish, and I can go home and be like, man, we were in the mix. You know, we had good pace today, and those are the weeks that, you know, you want to just feel like you're in the ball game as it pertains to pace and, you know, doing the right things and getting up in there and giving yourself a shot. So those days I can go home and have something to be proud of. It's the days and weekends where we're just not even relevant that, you know, I think are really, you know, the most frustrating to me. And you know, we've had more of those than I want to have and that we want to have as a team. So I think it's been good. It's not satisfactory to myself or to our team, but there's still a lot of racing, you know, left in the season. And you know, fortunately, I think we have ourselves in a position from just being able to make a mediocre day all right, that you know, we can build from it, and we still have ourselves a chance.
Jordan?
Jordan Bianchi, The Athletic, you're right. Look at the last 10 races of the regular season. 5 of them are on tracks where strategy is kind of important. 3 road courses plus here.
It's important every week.
That's true, but especially in terms of like flipping the stages, maybe.
You're not going a lap down, yeah.
Yeah, and so you look at the 3 road courses, Pocono and then Indianapolis. those 5 races, when you guys look at your season, are you in the mindset of when you go there, hey, we want to pursue the win? Is it a points thing, or is it kind of a case-by-case basis, just depending on the day? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit case by case, and a lot of it kind of comes back to my speed comments. Like, do you really have a legit shot of winning that day? You know what I mean? Based on just your pace and so on and so forth. So if you're in it's super circumstantial. I think is probably the best way to answer that. And I think the biggest circumstance that is going to dictate what you do in those moments is what kind of pace you have, and what kind of real shot you have to win the race. When you just kind of sit back and look at the day so far and comparatively to the guys that have had good air and out front. So I'm not sitting there. I have a pretty good idea when that's the case and when that's not the case. But certainly Alan and everybody on the box and on the team are going to have to. They're the ones that are watching that much closer than I'm able to. So we'll see. And I hope that we're fast and we can. I'm down with giving up stage points to give ourselves a shot to win all day long, for sure. But if you're struggling and you're not super fast, then some days those points might be worth the risk to try and get them and put yourself at a deficit for the next stage.
Dan Gelson, AP. Chase, how much, if at all, do you pay attention to the in-season challenge, and do you feel there's been enough, promotion or hype around it? It's supposed to start next week.
To be really honest with you, I have not paid any attention to it. I don't think it's a bad idea or anything. It seemed like it. You guys asked me a lot about it last year when it wasn't a thing, but I guess Denny did something. Am I remembering right? Yeah. So I remember you guys asking me about it last year, and it seemed like it got some traction. So as long as it's getting some traction and giving everyone something to talk about, and maybe historically you wouldn't. I would say it's a win. Certainly would love to win it. I don't know what you get. You get anything? $1 million to the winner? Then yeah, we want to win it. Why not? So yeah, would love to win. I think that, but it kind of goes back to just my mindset on the whole thing as a full picture. Like, if we're doing our job, that's going to take care of itself. Like my mindset is to go out here and try and win the race on a weekly basis. Not like I'm not going to try extra hard because we have a in-season tournament. Sorry, I'm already trying.
We'll go in the middle.
Hi Chase, welcome to Pocono. Ryan from Five Lug Racing. Speaking with numerous teams and drivers in the truck series yesterday, they spoke of wind adding a variable to their handling. Pocono is such a unique track as it is with the 3 different turns. How will you navigate through the higher winds as a driver and team, and where will it affect you the most?
Yeah, it's definitely been windy in general. I feel like across the country, it seems like, especially this late in the year. But I do think the wind died down yesterday. I don't know that it's going to be as big of a deal today and tomorrow from what I saw, but it just depends on which direction it's blowing. Which direction the wind is pushing you and where it's working. The wind can work against you, but it can also work with you for car handling too. So, having a headwind is a good thing, right? And so you have to kind of think about it both ways. And making a lap, right? You're going to see all the different directions of wind, and it just depends on which way it's going and which corner it's going to help you and which one it's going to hurt you. And you just got to think about that a little bit.
Lee Spencer, Series 6 in NASCAR Radio and CatchFromStart.com. Can you talk about your Design to Drive initiative?
Yeah, no, it's, for those that don't know, it's been, our foundation, initiative for the last, I think this is the 9th year we've done it. And, it's really just all in support of Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. We've typically done something around the Atlanta race every year, and it's really been a lot of fun to be a part of and watch it grow. And it started as a shoe initiative where kids were designing shoes and we were auctioning those off, and then Napa got involved, and really when Napa got involved, we kind of took it to the next step because they've given up one of their races to let this happen. And young girl named Raylan she's designed my car and my helmet and all the things for next weekend in Atlanta, and I'm super excited to meet her and have her family out of the track, and hopefully spread some joy with her and her family, and also try and help a good cause. That they're a fantastic network of hospitals. I have some some close friends of mine that have gone through there, and it's an amazing place. If you do have to do anything, which no one wants that, right? But an amazing place, an amazing atmosphere, great doctors. So we're just really, really proud, and it's an honor for me to be able to partner with them. And I'm sure it's not as much help as a lot of people do, but we've tried to help where we can, and to grow this deal, and it's been a really, really fun thing to be a part of. So I'm looking forward to it next weekend as well.
And what are your expectations going to your home track?
I would like to go win. Pretty simple.
One final question in the middle.
Adam Trapper, Motorsports Today. Chase, a big emphasis of the playoffs in general is about winning, but what's been a talking point this season is your streak of top 20 consecutive finishes to begin the season. So with that dichotomy of winning versus consistency, is there anything, even without a win this season, that you could take from how your team's been performing so far to be able to take into the latter half of the season?
I mean, yeah, the consistency, it's good, but this deal really rewards winning, and it does, right? And it's way more important to win, and to get those playoff points and fives than have to wait until the end of the regular season and maybe get 8 or 10, depending upon where you finish in the points. So you really need to have. You need to have some wins, and then you need to also finish good in the points, and then be able to kind of double down on that to get yourself in a really good spot. So yeah, the consistency is nice. No question. I think our team has done a really good job of taking some of those days where we're not having a good day and just like really digging in and finding a way just to get something halfway decent, out of it. And sometimes that can be a really hard thing to do. I'm proud of them for that, because it's easy to throw in the towel on those days and just lose it and be done and go try again next week. But I think that we as a whole we just we don't know any better. We just keep trying and keep pushing and make the most of whatever the day has brought us.
Thanks, Chase.
All right,
Good luck this
thanks.
weekend.